Welcome to Be Insightful in Technology, brought to you by the Be Insightful community. In this podcast, we will bring together people in the technology realm from various different backgrounds to share their experiences while also providing you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so you can do it too. Technology is the new wave when it comes to careers, so it's best to keep up and continue learning on what positions, technologies, and lifestyles are available and being created so you can continue to scale up. Being insightful in technology is for listeners who aren't afraid to take chances. There's so much you can do. So go ahead and subscribe to our podcast so you can gain that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be insightful in technology. Welcome to Be Insightful in Technology. I'm your host, Shai, and I'm here to help you gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that you can be insightful in technology as well. So I have a special guest here today, the one that kind of got me really started in the field and helped me understand all the different aspects of what actually happens in technology. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. All right, let everyone know who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
Okay, again, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Chris Maxwell. I am the Technical Services Manager for Rockdale County Sheriff's Office. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn under Christopher Maxwell. And you can also find me on Instagram under Rockwood37. That's my Instagram name, Rockwood37. And Rockwood is my two sons, Rock and Wood, and 37 is my ship that I was in on the Navy. So that's where you can find me at.
All right. Well, go ahead and add him, follow him, whatever you guys need to do, because he is a great mentor. He is still my mentor now. So look up to him, still pay attention to what he does. He leads me in the right direction. So I'm hoping that he can be that guy for you guys as well. All
Oh,
right. So we're
thank
going
you.
to, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. So let's start. How did you get your start in technology? So how did you really find your passion?
I think my passion, I didn't find it. I think it found me. Um, Knowing that some kids weren't able to participate in the digital age along with their counterparts kind of fused my passion and purpose. I think it's imperative that everyone has access to the same resources, opportunities, and training. And I think the kids who struggled in school were part of the underserved. And my passion is to make sure those kids have the same opportunities as everyone else. Yes.
Right. So that's kind of what we want to do here as well. Make sure everybody has that same opportunity. So you have been doing a project that you recently got done with. Is with the drones and helping out the younger generation. Can you go ahead and elaborate on that as well? Because I've been noticing and I want to talk on it a little bit.
Okay. Well, we just finished a 7 week drone workshop where we got kids from uh, the Explorers program here in Rockdale County. We got kids who come from Alpha. Those are kids who are struggling with school, and some of them got in trouble. And we coupled that with some just general students, and we brought them all together so they can kind of work together. And the program was funded and kind of structured around Axon's platform. So it's a STEM program we started. Axon funded it, and we let the kids come in and build their own drones. So for 6 weeks, I had some awesome kids and we saw them go from not knowing really what a drone was, a lot of cases, to being able to build and fly their own drone. So it was an awesome opportunity, and we got a chance to meet some real cool kids.
All right, that is a part of a growing process as well. Like one thing I kind of like people to understand is if you don't have access to certain resources and someone's willing to help you gain that, don't beat yourself up if you don't feel like you're good at it in the beginning because it is a process. It is really a process. So, how did you start your journey? I know when I worked with you, you pulled out your your transcript, you showed me your GPA, and then you said you went to the Navy. Go ahead and let me know what sparks the technology aspect into that.
Okay, well, and like you said, I kind of gave the cheat notes to what my last 35 years worth. And I'll tell you, I took the scenic route to where I am now. And to be honest, this is still only a stop to other things bigger and greater because there's a lot more to accomplish. And I got a lot more youth to inspire. My journey started when I joined the United States Navy at 18 years old, and I served 8 years of active duty. Then I was fortunate enough to have listened to my younger brother, who was also in the Navy. He told me to go to technology because it was new in a lot of ways. A lot of stuff was on the table that we never had access to. So I got into IT, and I started working contract jobs. I got a job working at NASA as an installer. Worked at Newport News Shipyard. Worked at in Langley, Virginia, a company called SFA, which gave me a lot of hands-on skills. So when I got back to Georgia, I got hired on at the Cobb County Sheriff's Office as a systems administrator. That led me to a managerial position here at Rockdale County Sheriff's Office, where I am currently now. And out of that engagement, we started the Future Pillars Mentorship Program to assist those students who come through RCA Career Academy, work-based learning, and we help with internships, jobs placement, interviewing. And you are one of those kids who came out of program. And I think you don't. I don't even think I ever told you, but you were one of the catalysts for us to even start the program, because what happens with those kids, they'll come out of the program, they'll go off to college, and they'll do their own thing, and we don't hear from them again. And I think it was important and crucial that we still maintain some kind of connection. So if they needed assistance, if they needed help, they'll still have access to us. So that's where the Future Pillars comes from. So we want to be available to those kids once they leave the program and give back. Also, I even told you when you were your last year, it's important that you become available for those kids who come behind you, because they're also going to need your help. And that's kind of what we started doing.
Oh, and in truth be told, they keep up with me. They do keep up with me. They make sure they check in. There's always a lot going on every time you guys check in. So
I think it's a great thing. And at the end, oftentimes we lose focus on the fact that we are responsible for one another. So we can't think that we're so busy that we can't give back. It's important that we give back. Other communities do it, and we just have to do the same thing. So we become beacons of light for those who need it, because again, we didn't get here by ourselves. And I tout my GPA to anybody who will listen, just to let people know you're not defined by what you did in high school. You're only defined by where you're headed and where you're going. So I let everybody know I didn't get to where I am today because I was an A student. I was a D student, and I struggled mightily. But at the end of the day, that thing that I was passionate about kind of gave me influence, and influence is gained daily for me. So that's kind of where I am now.
all right. So that whole growing process, and you listening to your brother about finding something in technology, because it was fairly new when you
Hmm.
guys were in the Navy.
Hmm.
So did you ever start in the Navy, or was it more so on the outside that you were able to gain that experience?
A lot of what I was, my job in the Navy was I was a radio man. So there was some concepts about technology that were already there, and we built on it. But the project management portion, all of the networks and stuff, that was not what we did. But what I learned while I was in the Navy catapulted me to jumping into the IT field.
Mhm. And what is inspiring you now to stay here? I know you're helping everyone. Do you have like a personal mission that you live by every day? That you wake up and you realize, like, I'm going to make sure that these kids get what they need. I'm going to make sure that everyone sees that there's value in what I do. What's that driving factor internally for you?
I have for a long time. I've always had this thing about accountability, and I believe in the triangle method of accountability. You always have one person that you are either above mentoring, somebody you mentor, and somebody that is your equal. So that triangle to me means a lot because you're always accountable to somebody. And so my passion still derives from those those levels of contact. I reach out to people who are students. I reach out to people who I work with, and I also reach out to people who are above me. And we always find ourselves giving back. So those passions are still there. It'll never change, and that's kind of what my direction has been, and I think it'll stay that way.
And it's true. He acts on all of that.
Mm.
He like I can attest that he is a really wonderful mentor, and I really appreciate it. Like I can't say it enough that I really appreciate everything that I've gone through in the Rockville County Sheriff's Office, like internship, even after high school, with him keeping up with me. So I am truly thankful. That is why I'm in this position today to to give back everything that I've learned and let people know that there's an option, there's a way for everything that you want. There
Everything,
really is.
everything, and we talked about that, and I remember you as a 17-year-old student. I remember how studious you were. You had a pad and you wrote down everything. And I was amazed at how much detail that you would bring back to me. And sometimes I said that, and you were like, yeah, you said this on this day. You said this on that day. So um, you set the standard for the kids who came behind you. I told Miss Maddox, I said, Miss Maddox, I don't know if we're gonna take another kid because I don't think it could be better than Shy. And right behind you came Tate Johnson. So, and Stephen and I were both amazed because you guys set a standard, and that everybody that comes through the program now, they've got big shoes to fill because you guys set the mark extremely high.
Like, I am honestly glad you took another student. I really am. I didn't want it to be as, you know, I'm up here and you feel like they just couldn't get there. The fact that, okay, I'm gonna let you tell them how you chose me as a as an
Mm,
intern. Go ahead and let them know how you chose me as an intern, and then we'll talk on it a little bit more.
okay. Well, the truth is, we were off. A lot of times we were given students, and we never had the option to choose. So I told the director over there. I'm not going to say her name, but I told her, send me a list of students so I can look over the information. So I saw Shakira Johnson. I said, that's the one I want. And it changed how we do business since that day. So I wanted everybody to be, and that's part of what I do now. I want all kids to be brought to the table, to have access to the same platforms, same opportunities. And I knew Shakira, I knew it had to be somebody from our community. And not to say we discount anybody else's, but I just wanted to make sure everybody had the same opportunities. And we all understand that everybody is literally equal. I don't believe in inequalities that have one kid greater than the other one, because if that be the case, I wouldn't be here today. At 53 years old, I've retired twice. I'm on my third, I'm on my third retirement. So I can retire again. I'm vested at Rockdale County. I can leave Rockdale County now and go to another county and get another pension. So for me, it's about making sure that everybody has the opportunities to kind of to follow their dreams, and that's why we chose Shy.
And the opportunity, I needed it. I needed the opportunity to actually get off campus and see what the real world was actually like.
Hmm.
My first internship with work-based learning, I was on site, like on the school campus, and I wasn't really doing much. It
Hmm.
was more so I was sitting in the library just waiting, and nothing would really ever come. So when I got off campus to do my internship at the sheriff's office, it was something new every day. That's why I had my notepad with me all the time. It was something new, something to take down, something that I was learning and trying to keep up with every single day I was there.
Well, you worked, and I made sure Cody kind of put you through the work that he would do, and it really is what the foundations of our program is. We don't want a student to come and just sit in the corner. Everybody has to work. because I don't have the staff available to have you just sitting over there looking up stuff. I need you working. And it made us better. Not only did it make us better, it got you to a position to where you could do some of those help desk positions and jobs out there, even as a high school student. So it was mutually beneficial.
Like, since my pathway for from RCA was in networking, I had it in my mind that that's the only thing I would be able to do with my knowledge. And going in and taking the internship with you guys, it showed me that this can be applied everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
All the fundamental knowledge that I learned, this can be applied in whatever I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I take that with me everywhere. I take it with me everywhere. Like, any career path that I choose, or any pathway that I choose, even within technology, it's a life lesson. And I still have my my notes of all the advice for life that I learned at the that I learned at the sheriff office, and I'm even adding notes to it now from wherever I
Mm-hmm.
learned. So it's more stuff in there. And there's a phrase that I want you to go over that you always kept telling me when I was there is to be the purple cow. And I
Purple
want you
cow.
to explain, because that one is one of my favorite phrases from you.
You know, I tell a story all the time, and I think nothing about the understanding of being a purple cow is different. It's all the same. The story is that if you're driving down a long country road and you see 1,000 cows, you're going to see a black cow, you're going to see a spotted cow, you're going to see a bunch of brown cows, and you're not going to pay a lot of attention to them. But the one cow, the one thing that would make you stop if you saw a purple cow, our job is to be the purple cow. You know, we're not always the ones who are supposed to be like everybody else. And you were the purple cow because, excuse me, I think part of what my allure was to you as a kid, as a young girl, you don't see a lot of minorities, females in technology. So you were the purple cow. So all of the things that we did and all of the stuff we taught you and we discussed, I wanted you to make sure you took that with you. You know, I'm not only a purple cow, I'm going to find another purple cow behind me. So when we start making purple cows the norm, we won't look so differently at those kids who come through the programs who are not like us. It's not the kid with the pencil protector and the big glasses. That's not IT no more. IT is not him because we do so many other things other than fix computers. Even Stephen Johnson, who worked for me, Stephen Johnson thought the same way you thought. He thought networking, 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 not realizing there was 40 other things that he got a chance to do working at the sheriff's office with me that he never would have got a chance to do working somewhere else. So now it makes him better forward. So as a project manager, I looked at it from a different lens and he couldn't see it. So once I showed him from my lens, he got it. So he learned what you learned.
And continuous learning, the continuous amount of learning that has to be done is astronomical. It's constantly changing. You just got to keep up.
Part of another thing, I think part of what we do is our job as technologists is we've got to be proficient in what we do. So we don't work 8 hours. There's no such thing as a technician in IT who works 8 hours. We work 8 hours at work we get paid for, but our job also is to study, is to go out and find different technologies that we want to learn, and we've got to be good at that as well. So there is no 40-hour week. It's just not possible. Not if you want to be good.
Right.
If you want to be good, you got to do more. You got to know more. And when I think I told you this. I know I did. The phones ring to those who answer them, and they come to you because you know. When your phone does not ring, you're not solving problems. My job is to solve problems. It's also my job to make sure we don't run into problems as well. So I've got to do as much forecasting as anything, but we still have to solve problems, and that is our job. There is no, MCSE or CCIE or Network Plus. All those things are disciplines, but as a technologist, our job is to make sure we know as much as possible.
Like the learning off and on the clock. It's like right now I'm currently in network operations. So I
Mm-hmm.
am doing a lot of troubleshooting, monitoring, and making sure that the network is up and there's nothing interfering with the systems and the payments. Is nothing interfering with that. So I come into issues that I don't know how to solve
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat every day I'm at work. So using that fundamental knowledge that I have to keep building upon is is making everything work. Is making stuff work. As long as I stay up to date on anything that's out now, because technology is constantly changing every few days, every week, every month is something new that you have to be able to understand. So taking that fundamental knowledge and applying it is really what kind of got me through and got me into this position for one.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I haven't had the full on experience that a job may be looking for, it's the fact that I know the fundamentals to be able to troubleshoot a problem and figure out, like, if I understand how it works, I can figure out what's broken and how to
Um, I,
fix it initially.
yeah, I think, and not to cut you off, I was going to say,
Mhm.
people, we don't know, we don't seek people who know it all. We find people who can find the answers. So even today, I work for Google part time in YouTube, because if I can't find something, I'm going to Google. I'm going to YouTube. I'm going to find whatever source of information I need to resolve that problem. And that is what it's about. It's about how resourceful you are. Those of us who are resourceful, those of you who are resourceful, you got to find a way. And that's what makes you important. Because if they can't find it out, because everybody can go to Google, but can you find it if they can't? And
Mhm.
that makes you valuable.
The one thing you said about the phones, and now that you said the what makes you valuable, that is another one of the things he preached all the time. Is if I walk down these halls and someone stops me saying they need something, that means I've added value. If I walk down and they don't say anything to me, like at all, days pass, no answers, I'm not adding value. So I look at that and I take that, I honestly take everything that you guys said with me everywhere, because the adding value part means that you're there and they look for you. You're that person that they really do come to understand what their issue is,
Hmm.
or they just want to be able to express to you to get some insight on what's going on. So I really do take that as being someone valuable can take you great lengths. It'll take you far.
It does, and you create value, and that's the thing about it. We are always valuable, but you can also create value. And creating value is you doing your due diligence to make sure you're reaching out and getting access to information. And that's why the mentorship program for me is so huge, because a lot of kids don't know where to go. So our job is to stand behind them and walk and kind of show them where the rocks are. And then once they get to the other side, their job is to throw the rope back so somebody else can get that same pathway. And it's working. It really has worked. I think I've got you about to graduate in December. The Tate just finished his first year at Georgia Tech. I got three kids just came out of high school this year. They're all in college, and Mikhail is going to Georgia State. So we've got a lot
Mm,
of kids coming through the program.
okay.
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and hop on to the next spot, which is your thoughts, comments, and concerns, and what do you feel like needs to change in the field to make everything better? And one reason I want to ask you this is because you're that person that is kind of like the gateway for people stepping into the field. So you're here to help make those changes. So you kind of get that firsthand experience. What do you feel like needs to happen?
Well, I do like the direction that technology is going. I think more kids are able to participate uh, in these platforms, whereas before it was only the kids who were honor roll students. But now we've got access to a lot of different programs and different things that they can do as well. And now, since technology is so normal, even stuff, even the working from home, the virtual environment now is normal, whereas before it wasn't. COVID caused everybody to go home. So people had to learn how to work in Word, had to learn how to work in Teams, they had to learn how to work in Google. All those are cloud platforms. So they weren't really knowing this is where we're headed, but now they are proficient in those areas. So I like the direction it's going. Um, what I think needs to change, I think access to technology sooner um, in a student's development, I think is going to be key. Making sure they learn earlier and they can compete with other kids in their age group or even younger or higher. I think that's going to be huge. I think making sure everybody can get it early because a lot of kids don't go to school. They won't get it until ninth, 10th, 12th grade. They need to be learning technology in elementary school because it'll even the playing field. It's going to even the playing field with kids. And another thing I like about technology is, a lot of kids learn they are dependent on their understanding, but now they've got to work with other kids, like the class you're taking. You have another student you got to work with. So whereas you were dependent on your own study styles, now you got to be interdependent on somebody else. So you got independent, dependent, and interdependent. All those three things work together. So you become better by working with other students, and that's the platform I think Future Pillars is about as well. We force kids to work together, whereas before you could be the honor roll kid and never have to work with anybody else. But that doesn't make you a good student per se when you have to drag another kid who may not be as good or proficient uh, as you are.
Like, I feel like everything in technology is teamwork.
Absolutely.
It's a lot, it's too many things to control and monitor that it needs a big team. It needs multiple players on the field.
Hmm.
So learning how to be interdependent and understanding whoever you're working with style with things will come in handy for a lot of things, because a lot of stuff that I've noticed working is kind of project based,
Hmm.
that they need a group collaboration to get multiple different aspects. And if you're doing it by yourself, it is a heavy load. It is too much to manage to get done by a certain day that they want it done, because a lot of
Hmm.
stuff in businesses, they push so many things out at you at one time, they change so many things on one project even. So it's just having multiple members on the team can help alleviate some of that stress with getting that work done.
Absolutely. And that's a segue to the conversation we talk about working with other people and what that triangle looks like. Um, Almost all of my projects have me interacting with different departments in the sheriff's office. So you're right. You can probably go faster alone, but you won't go farther. And those disciplines are important to learn how you work with other people because everybody has different learning styles and working styles. But you have to learn how to work with other people. If not, you'll be doing it by yourself, and you're bound to fail a project if you got to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you're gonna slip because there's only so much you can do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that that's the most honest thing I've heard. It's not like a regular school project. When everything is in production and needs to move and you're doing it by yourself, it's it's gonna fall through.
It's gonna fall. And you know what? I think we've gotten accustomed now to learning how to work together. So it's commonplace now that you bring people to the table. Where it used to be, you did it by yourself, and you were judged on how well you did it by yourself. Now you're judged on how well you do it with a group of people who have varying disciplines, and it's not easy, uh, but it can be beneficial because for me, the benefits of doing it with other people means I get different viewpoints, and it's not going to rely on me knowing it all. I get to bring other people in who have those skill sets in those areas that I don't know anything about. I'm a civilian. I'm not law enforcement, but I've got to know how body cameras work. I got to know how the deputy uses it in the car. I've got to know how electronic citations are being written. I'm a civilian, but I still got to have these people in who have that level of expertise I just don't have. So if we want to make the project work, we got to have access to these people, and that's why the teamwork portion of it is so important.
Like, One thing I do want to note is don't have too much pride when it comes to asking for help.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Everybody needs help. Everybody
Ev-
needs help.
yeah.
And what else? Let's go into the next segment. All
Okay.
right. So, how can others get to where you are? So, a little bit more specific on your journey and what you did, like more specific steps. So, when you got into the Navy, we'll start kind of there and express like something a little bit more specifically that you can go over.
Again, I think for me, everything boils down to that triangle. That
Hmm.
finding a mentor, finding somebody who you want to emulate. That person is going to give you some of the keys to success that you obviously don't have access to yet. And once you get a certain level of competency, you find someone also to mentor. So if you've got somebody who mentors you, you've got somebody you mentor, that's that circle. And then you have someone you collaborate with. So that triangle looks like this. So there is no gap to be found because you have a complete, it's not a circle, but you have those walls that are all covered. The left is covered, the right is covered, and the base is covered. And that's to me what I think it makes what we do beneficial because we try to make sure all bases are covered. And there's a scripture that says a three-chord bond is hard to break. That means a rope that is tied with three cords is extremely difficult to break. So when you have that levels of three, I think you'll do fine.
And finding a mentor, for me, I went and listened to what he said about reaching out to someone in the field, like what I want to do.
Mhm.
And someone who looks like me, because representation is really important. You can kind of talk to them on a more deeper level of what it took to get into the field as, someone that looks like you. Because it's not always like peaches and cream. It's not as easy as some people think it is when you're on the other side of what people typically see as someone in the technology field. So reaching out to people, a lot of people are a lot more helpful than you think. All you have to do
Mhm.
is just kind of ask. So that makes it a lot easier. And the best tool that I've realized reaching out to people on has been LinkedIn. They're
Mhm.
more likely to respond. So if they have a Instagram, YouTube, comment, liking, showing up to what they do, it kind of just helps you find that mentor if you want if you want one on a more personal level. If you like to look from afar, there are people that you can look at. There are more profound professionals in the field if you want to start from the very top. But I always like seeing more local people because it's a better connection and they're surrounded in an area of what you're in and it's easier to integrate into the field when you have someone that's basically right there in an area that you're in. It's really easy to really speak with them, meet up with them, get more information.
I think I like the local idea better as well. I think finding someone who you can get physical that you can touch does mean a lot, and you can become more familiar with that person and what they do. I love mentorships. That's why I built the Future Pillars program. Um, at the end of the day, I think all of us at some point are vain in a sense that we love to be told, "I like what you do," and even when I told you a couple of years ago, telling somebody I appreciate you and I like what you do and I want to emulate what you do, they're going to give you the keys to the city because that's just us being vain. It is not necessarily being untruthful. It's us saying what you have done, I like, and I want to do the same thing. So we're going to always say yes. I don't know anybody who doesn't like being appreciated, and that person is going to open up the keys to the city for you.
And he's right. It's a lot more open when you're in the field and you just want to just get to know people. If you're already working in technology and you want to move to like a different position, just reach out to the person in that position. That's what I did to get over to network operations. I was referred to this person by another coworker, and they just said, like, reach out to him. He's really helpful. He's very knowledgeable in what he does. So showing interest is one of the best things you can do to get in the field, because the fact that you're interested, and a lot of people want someone who's willing to learn. They want someone who is not knowledgeable, but also just ready to be open to anything that's thrown at them, because there's so much that I can't explain how much stuff that I have learned just being in the field for about, really, what, 2 years now?
2 years.
2 years. So from starting from my first help desk job, then moving on to the next, it's just you learn how people operate, and you also learn how the business operates. Once you learn how both of those things collaborate with each other, like, you're you're good. You're good.
I'll give your listeners a life hack. This life hack, and they can write it down. If you offer yourself for free, if you tell people, I'll work for you for free, give me 2 days, 1 or 2 days a week, at some point, they'll offer you something. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you the question. I'm gonna turn the tables on you. So I introduced you to my younger brother,
Mhm.
my younger brother Andre, and you got a chance to work to intern with him. Even though it wasn't part of your pathway, what did you get out of that experience?
I got that there is a lot to handle, as in being he was on the smaller side of like an operational business. So I saw that there were multiple different aspects that one or two people could handle. And the fact that they were so knowledgeable in what they did showed me that they were ready to take on anything. Looking at them, the group as a whole, they inspired me to really move forward and take in as much knowledge as I could. They inspired me to simply be open to learning and compartmentalize. That was a very used word over there. It was taking in everything that they would teach you, putting it in different aspects of the business, and learning that one thing might apply to one company when you're servicing them, but it may not work for the other. Is taking the different aspects that they use for their program and being able to apply it to multiple different places. So I say for that, it really taught me how to be more open and just soak in the knowledge. It taught me more how to be a true sponge. It really did.
There's a lot to learn, and they
Mhm.
are his company's still doing well. Almost everything is remote now because of COVID, but his his customer base has not changed. And there's a lot of stuff to learn. And again, the more all the stuff boils back to the more you know, the more valuable you are. And when you get those opportunities, and that's why that life hack I spoke about is when you are willing to offer yourself, or offer your time for free, people know you're serious, and that gets you access to a lot of things. When you say, I'll give you my time, because the truth is, all you want is the knowledge. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
not about even what you make, how much you make. Sometimes it's the knowledge, because once you learn it, you can reteach it. If you
You
can
can
teach
take
it,
that knowledge
you can,
everywhere.
absolutely you can take it with you. And sometimes, we get accustomed to want to be paid for everything. Some things are seeds. Something is not about being paid. Sometimes it's a seed, and it's not our job to eat it. It's our job to plant it. And I love being in the planting business. I would much rather plant than get a harvest, because I get more out of giving. And that is really the basis of that's the basis of what we do. We believe in giving. We believe in planting in as many fields as possible. So we planted you on one side, planted Tate on the other. I got three more other plants. We're gonna try to I'm gonna try to flood the city with smart kids that are going to all give back. And when all you guys start giving back, we get to, and I don't know if you remember this, I told you, you ought to at least be able to recreate yourself.
Mhm. Yep. I remember.
You should be able to recreate yourself. That means I should see another shot coming up in the next couple of years, because that's proof positive that you gave back and you thought it not robbery to give.
Look, we're in the works. We're in the works.
I got
Um,
time. I don't plan on going to work.
yep.
I'll wait on her. I'll wait on her.
Just getting an understanding like the baseline of where everybody's at. Like I had to understand that not everyone's gonna have the same work ethic as me right off the
Indeed.
bat, and they're not gonna have the same mindset as me right off the bat. So it's a lot of people learning that comes with recreating yourself
That's
and
true.
just understanding like what are people really interested in so that they can actually improve their work ethic, elevate their mindset. Because
Hmm.
not everybody's going to go the same exact path I did, but do I know people that can connect them with this so that way they can spark that fire within them to get started? So, how you guys were, and that you guys know a lot of people that are in different parts of technology or in different fields completely, is connecting those with what really is gonna resonate with that person. That
Hmm.
is kind of where I'm at with the the whole process. Is just understanding that they may not be they may not want to be a network engineer, but they want to go into coding. They want to be a software developer, web
Hmm.
developer. They want to work on that. It's like it's two different things in the same field, but can I find them somebody that will actually help them and really build that passion upon them, really help them find their work, find their way.
It really is not necessarily about finding somebody who can do what you do. It's about imputing that level of effort and passion in them, because whatever route they take is going to be theirs anyway. So you
Mhm.
you chose a route. Uh, we don't want to not pick somebody because they're not doing what you do. That passion and that effort still belongs to them in something else, and they can still take off. We want them to all take off. Um, the kids who came behind you, they all three of them want to do something different. And Tate wants to do security. He wants to do, and so it's always something. The technology platform is just too big to have everybody do the same thing. There's so many other disciplines in our field that will allow us to do different things. So we don't have to sit on the same row on a plane. There's so many other seats we can sit on, but it takes all of us to do all these different things. Nobody knows it all.
So I really like that. If I don't know it, I'm able to help build upon that by finding someone who does, and they teach me the basics, and they they're able to understand what I know. So it's like a give and take relationship no matter what you do in technology. I want to make sure that people understand that it's all collaborative. It really is all collaborative. You there are some things you can do by yourself, but really not everything. It's teamwork.
Yeah,
Teamwork make the dream work with it.
yeah, it really does. It definitely makes it definitely makes the dream work. And at the end of the day, the result is being driven by how much effort was being brought on all different from all different people. And that's what I like about it. I like it when everybody can have input and not one person gets all the credit. It just can't be done. Can't be done.
Right. At all. But I have to move into the last spot.
Okay.
So, what is a motivating, insightful quote for everyone listening today? Let me go ahead. What's something that, drives you? What's a quote that you look at all the time, or one that you have from yourself? Because, I save your quotes.
You know,
What?
you know, I got them. I have one. I keep them, and I write daily to, number one, inspire myself, because I think it's a constant change. I learn differently every day, so I try to make sure that I inspire my own self. I went to a seminar about a month ago, and the speaker said something, and he even caught me on this one, and I had to write it down because it was so profound. It says, uh, it says, light is the responsibility of the torchbearers. So I looked it up, and it said, light is the responsibility of the torchbearers. And for those who have the calling and the charge, it is our responsibility to illuminate that which is bright and oftentimes where darkness rules the day. So it's our job oftentimes to make change where there is no change or has not been changed. And we can't keep pointing the finger and say they're not doing it over there the right way. And we have the recipe. It is our job to go where light is not. And if we're going to be those, if we're going to be the entity that we say we are, we got to go some deep places. We got to go some dark places, and we got to be the light. I consider myself a lighthouse, and that's part of what my mantra is. I need to be a person that when nothing is, if somebody is looking for direction, they should be able to see me. They should be able to see how I'm living, how I'm walking, and what I'm doing, and I should be able to bring them towards me, and that's what I consider being a lighthouse. So my motivation, my motivating, insightful quote for those listening is light is the responsibility of the torchbearers. And you can
All
and you
right.
can write that down.
I'm taking that one like I'm
Yeah,
taking that one with
yeah.
me.
And again, it's important that those of us who have who are safe, we throw the lifeline out. We have to throw the lifeline out to those who don't have it, because the job is to get everybody on the boat. All of us want to be secure. All of us want to be in a position that we can take care of our families and we can live and not struggle all the time. So it's our job to not to be responsible enough that once we made it over, again back to the whole rope, you throw the rope back so somebody doesn't have to struggle in the area they don't need to. Now you don't have to give them all the answers. You don't have to give them all the secrets, but some things we ought to be willing to do.
Mhm.
We should want to help, and that I think is something that I'm going to always take. I'll take it to my grave when I'm done and I have nothing else to give. Somebody's going to say he did it the right way.
Like paying it forward is
Indeed.
really necessary. Paying it forward. A lot of us, I like to say, like a lot of people complain about what can and should be done. But those are also people who don't act upon the changes that they want done.
Hmm.
So I just like to say, like, with this field, I would say, okay, if I don't see someone that looks like me there, I'm gonna be someone that looks like me there.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna make sure that some representation is shown because you don't know who else is actually looking, who else needs someone to take that step forward so they can do it.
Hmm.
I, I spoke with Shaquita Montgomery. That was my mentor that I reached out. That is someone in the field that looks like me. And she was saying all it took for her was to see someone working as a technician that was also a black female to say, we can do this. And she went and did it. She wanted
Hmm.
to be able to join in and be able to be a part of this. She just needed to see some representation
Indeed.
so that she knew it was possible. A lot of us don't know that it's possible because we don't see it. But
And to be honest, I think a lot of times it's the fact that a lot of us make it and we don't give back. We don't go back to see who's looking. It really is incumbent upon us to say, even if I don't see them, I need to make sure I'm available. And that's part of also giving back. You have to be available when somebody needs help. And you can't say, oh, you got to do it. I can't give you the keys. Yeah, you can. You can tell them. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be on the throne by themselves. And I always say, Stephen and I have this saying, you can tell what kind of employee you got at 501. Because at
mm,
501, that's when the ones who get paid leave.
they out they out the door.
When that 5 o'clock whistle hit, they're gone. I leave when I'm finished. And if it's 5:15, 5:30, 5:45, I leave when I'm finished. And I make sure that is the mantra that Stephen and I both work under. And even our interns, they're students, but they still understand their job is to make sure they are available, and they can be available in the presence, where they can be available by phone, text, email, but they're always thinking of ways to make what we do better, and that is part of that level of excellence that we kind of talk about. It's our job to be excellent, and if we're not excellent, we're definitely trying to be.
It has been really nice having you on the podcast today. I really do want to work with you a lot more on more things to come and express everything that I plan to take, be insightful in technology and be insightful community. I want to make sure that you are a part of this.
Listen, I would be remiss if I wasn't.
You're one of the inspirations of starting this.
Thank you.
So you're welcome, and I thank you greatly for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and let people know where they can find you again. Go ahead.
Instagram, Rockwood 3737. Facebook is Christopher Maxwell, and LinkedIn is Christopher Maxwell. And again, I want to thank you, and I really appreciate you allowing me to come on this platform and talk to you. And I assume nothing, but I know great things are coming your way, Shai, because you are awesome, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So, thank you guys for listening. I hope you tune in next time to gain some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that you can be insightful in technology too. All right. See you guys later.